Hello, everybody. Mike from Southern California again, and you're on the mic. So, on today's episode of On the Mic, I'm going to talk about the business of conspiracy. I'm going to talk, kind of overview what's all gone with Funimation and Rooster Teeth this year from a business perspective, in light of the Vic Mignogna okay, Vic Mignogna controversy. So here we go. So you know, so let me start out with Funimation here. So as Funimation. Everybody knows about how Funimation let Vic go. It was over what many believe was a bogus investigation into sexual harassment allegations. You know, that claiming that he was sexually inappropriate. I'm not going to delve too deeply into that. We know that happened. So what have we found out about Funimation since all that happened? Well, according to a number of Glassdoor reviews, it's not necessarily it's not necessarily the best job. It's a good job for starting out, but not really a place you might find yourself wanting to really work. There's no communication between management and employees as to what's expected of them. From everything we've heard, it's so. And as the year went on, of course, we also had heard about some issues with their streaming services with Funimation now, and people who being locked into their subscriptions when they were wanting to try to get out after choosing not to support the company anymore after they let Vic go. Supposedly there were some glitches, but people find it very suspect that people couldn't unsubscribe when they wanted to, and it found that Funimation was losing money. They were starting to lose subscribers. They're starting to lose money. Then, of course, more recently, we heard about the infamous casting couch. Now, again, this is still alleged. There's obviously no criminal charges that were ever filed against Christopher Sabat, so you have to take that. You have to take that with as much a grain of salt as you would Vic's allegations or Sean's that have recently come out. Because all they are allegations. Chuck Huber alluded to it. Stephanie Nadolny alluded to the possible casting couch issue. But as far as we know, there's no, or at least hard proof as of yet, or no police reports or anything. So you have to take that with a grain of salt. But if that is happening, that's kind of a scummy thing to be happening. Especially when Funimation's, this whole thing with Vic has really split the community, and Funimation, I know, is feeling some of the effects of that from a business perspective. Now, in more positive news, within the last week here, we found out that Sony is continuing to buy up, Funimation, and they're basically trying to consolidate all their products. So, Madman manga in Australia, I think there's a French that they're basically Aniplex. They're basically trying to consolidate everything, to consolidate their streaming services and all that. Sony recently laid off a number of employees in the art and marketing department. Numbers have varied from report to report, but when companies merge and they consolidate, of course they're going to get rid of some people. I think Hirohei was covering it a little bit yesterday in terms of Like there were some people who were posting. Actually, what happened was they found a Reddit post from 2 months ago where a number of employees were laid off from the art and marketing department. Now, of course, when you have companies merging and consolidating, you're going to have that happen. It's because to eliminate redundancies. You don't need two separate art marketing departments when one will suffice for the whole company. Or in this case, I think there are like 4 or 5 companies involved, so you don't need 4 or 5 different departments when one department would do for the entire company. That's just the nature of the business. So yeah, and it does kind of make you wonder too, if next week, when Judge Shupp, if he ends up having to rule on the remaining keys, it's gonna be interesting to see what Funimation does if Judge Shupp rules to let the defamation against them go forward. And even if he doesn't, we know Ty is gonna probably appeal it. If Judge Shupp basically just dismisses the rest of the charges, Ty is going to definitely be appealing, I think, the majority of those counts. If he upholds and moves forward with the counts that are remaining, with the 5 counts that are remaining, the defamation on Funimation, Monica, and Ron, and then the civil conspiracy against Monica and Ron, it's I'd say about a 50-50 chance, maybe a little bit more, that Ty will appeal some of the remaining counts that got dismissed, unless that include, of course, defamation, civil conspiracy against Jamie, civil conspiracy against Funimation, and then the TI counts against Monica and Ron. It's also possible that the judge will overrule himself and not just move forward with the counts already there, but also bring back some of those other causes as well. If that happens, then of course Sam Johnson will Funimation and Jamie will most likely appeal those, if they get brought back in. But then again, Funimation might also, if the defamation moves forward from a business perspective, they might choose to just settle with Vic, or try to settle with Vic. That's what this whole mediation was about, is trying to, because I think the judge knew he screwed up, and as I said, I wasn't going to try to get too much into the case here. I'm just looking at it more from a business perspective. But, if Funimation ends up being forced to move forward in the case, they might decide to settle, to just try to cut their losses, limit their damage, and then leave Monica and Ron to fend for themselves. That's at least one theory. So, but we'll know all that next week. So that's a lot about Funimation bottom. Now, Rooster Teeth, and Hiro Hay's been covering Rooster Teeth a lot on this stuff. So, as everybody knows, Rooster Teeth basically, well, they didn't really talk too much about. Why they fired Vic. They just let him go, which will make suing them a little bit harder. And we know that a number of their voice actors had come out and were sitting there trashing on Vic and all that. But as the years gone on, we've found out some stuff about them too, from a business perspective, like forcing their employees to basically work a lot of overtime without pay, which is illegal. They could get sued for that. Of course, another thing being, some of the recent layoffs there, in which they cut about 13% of their workforce, which turned out to be like 50 people. Let's see, what else? What else do we have? Yeah, and there's also been over the past few months here. There's been a number of resignations, firings, and just moving around to people up top. Everybody, I think one of the big ones that everybody knows is Gray Haddock leaving the company. They're trying to spin it. They're trying to spin it in a way. They're trying to spin it in a way that makes them look positive, but it's not looking too positive for them. And then, of course, they had some issues with when they went into the gaming sector, in which apparently, from everything we've seen, from everything Hero Hayes reported on, the game, like Vicious Circle, the game that they released earlier this year, is basically tanking. They're not getting a lot of people playing it. There's not a lot of people showing a lot of interest. It's basically tanking. So it's not making up. So Genlock did just finish its run on Toonami. Okay, so I was talking about Rooster Teeth here. Some of the stuff that's gone down with them. They recently cut 13% of their workforce, 50 people. And then also heard about a number of people resigning, leaving the company, people getting moved around up top. In the last couple of days, we found out that one of the founders of Rooster Teeth, Matt Hollum, was basically, now they may be spinning it another way, but it's basically I believe it to be a demotion. It's basically a demotion. It was basically demoted from chief executive officer to chief content officer, where he'll be reporting to I guess the new CEO they're bringing in, Jordan Levin, according to Hero Hayes reporting. And of course, Rooster Teeth, aside from some of the issues like revolving around the crunch time issues over the practical slave labor they were using, some of their voice actors, as I said, were like getting on, were really hammering on Vic. So Genlock had recently completed its run on Toonami. Now that's probably considered one of the few bright spots in terms of how they, because it had, according to Hero, they had somewhat of a successful run on there. So moving forward, one of the things is that now I know like SG Sammy had pointed out with the Rooster Teeth issues, that it might be karma biting them in the rear. They fired Vic, and now all this stuff's coming out about him. But the issues may not necessarily be completely revolving around Vic, but sometimes one bad apple spoils the bunch. Sometimes avalanches often start with little rocks, sparking something. So with that, if you guys want to check out the links below, my Twitter handle will be down there if you want to contact me directly, As you guys know, I've been promoting a number of different, dub companies. If you guys want to check them out, the links are down there. I'm also promoting, of course, Vic's GoFundMe as well as the Ortiz family GoFundMe for the brothers' housing situation, and that Umbrella Guys Indiegogo. Guys, if you guys want to check those out, again. Always remember, guys, that nobody wants you guys to go bankrupt over this stuff. If you guys have the means to, and it's on your heart to do so, please consider donating. If you've already donated, please consider donating again if it's in your ability to. And if you cannot donate, you can still help out by sharing the link. Maybe there's somebody in your network of friends who might see it and decide, hey, I want to help out too. So with that, and if you like this content, please consider liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. I always look forward to the conversation with you guys. Look forward to the back and forth. I've had some good ones recently, particularly on my premieres. And don't forget, guys, tonight's premiere, Voices Big and Small, Deborah Rabai, a.k.a. Angora Deb, a New York-based voice actor, probably most well-known for the voice as the English voice of Boogie Pop and Boogie Pop Phantom. So you guys might want to check that out. Hope to see you guys at the premiere tonight and have a chance to talk to you. And if not, then I will see you on Monday. Bye.